Hello everybody and welcome to today's video where we are going to be breaking down the women's single scull final from the 2025 Lucerne World Cup. As always, we'll be hopefully doing so in a way that helps you understand the different techniques, helps you learn new ways that you can bring these techniques into your rowing so that you can get faster for the same amount of effort. For those that are new here, my name's Jack Burns. I'm the founder of Edge Rowing. We work with busy professionals over the age of 40. We're normally at capacity, so we spend a lot of time making this content so that we can help everybody else. But anyways, so in this year, the standout sculler certainly at the moment has been Lauren Henry. Really like Lauren's technique. Lauren's actually done a bit of mentoring with our athletes as well. Which was awesome. We learned loads about how she's approaching her training and her technique and her mindset and everything. But I did a whole video on Lauren, if I can remember, which I probably won't. I'll link the video in the description, and I'd recommend going and watching that. But if I don't link it, just friggin' search Lauren Henry in my YouTube channel. But anyways, her as a kind of like overview of her technique, it's some of the best technique I've ever seen, but for those that haven't seen the video, she has really good preparation going into the front, really good stillness. She places the blade, she waits for it to connect, she pushes, her body stays low as she pushes, she keeps still and loose as she pushes, and then she opens really nicely, presses all the way through to the finish, hangs really nicely, and then opens and then repeats the process. So yeah, go and watch that video, I'd highly recommend it, but in this one we'll cover kind of everybody else. So the first one I would like to go over is the Irish sculler. So what they, to me, do well is they stay very loose. They keep their sculling pretty simple. They have nice blade work. But to me, I think like comparing her to Lauren, I just don't think her catch is as good. And there are two ways, in my opinion, you can put the blade in. You can put it in, get backsplash, and then wait for that air pocket to fill and then push, or you can row the blade in with the direction of the boat. You don't get resistance when you put the blade in, but you kick before you're connected. And just looking at the way this sculler rows, again, nice looseness up top, nice and still. They had good blade prep going in, but they put the blade in by pulling the blade back, and it means that the direction they kind of push the blade in like this, and they're kicking before. Oh, they've got different socks. I wonder if that's like a kind of lucky charm thing or something. Or anyways, they push before this blade is locked in, and it just means that the stern goes in that direction rather than going in that direction. Yeah, this will be a better shot here. You can just see. I'm not a fan of that. And good preparation as well going in. I think there's a good early square. But if we look here, you would want to lift your hands straight up. And because the water is flowing underneath you, that would result in a bit of backsplash on the back of the blade. You would then get an air pocket forming on the front. You need to wait for that to close and then push. But just looking at this technique, so you see they come back a little bit here, and the blade comes in with the water. I know we're not in the first 250. Sorry, I scrolled ahead and I forgot. But yeah, you can see there's that kind of like surge, that kind of bulge on the front of the spoon. And to me, I just don't think that's the best way to take the blade in. But what else do they do well? The other thing is they kind of like open the back a little bit as they open the kind of they're leaning forward, and they open up a little bit out of it. But apart from that, they hang pretty well. Good push. It's kind of I'm actually like slowing it down like this. I haven't done this yet. There's kind of like a gradual like legs and bodies together, which isn't really what you want as well. You want to go legs first and then the back. But Apart from that, nice clean blade exit, nice and simple, really good posture at the back, tapping the blades down low. Now, actually, one of the other techniques I quite liked, which actually wasn't in frame for that long, was the Lithuanian Skull. And this is the best footage we've got, so we're going to have to work with it. But one thing I think they did really nicely was they had this idea of pushing low and not getting any force going up. And you really want to make sure that the way you can think about it is, if we can get a shot where we can see, I don't think we're going to. So if you imagine, you know, their lower back, it's kind of like you want to push your lower back in that direction, and you can almost think about it like you don't even have an upper body, like you're literally just legs, and all that's happening is, imagine you have these two hooks on your hips, and there's like a rope that's connected to the handle, and the only way you can move the oar is by driving your hips, hanging through that rope and pushing the force in that direction. And the more tense you are in the upper body, the more it's going to be difficult to do this. And if you can stay loose and really have this idea of pushing with the legs low, it's a really good way to just get the boat surging horizontally. And if you take the force up too much, like maybe the Irish Skull, the Irish Skull was going faster than the Lithuanian Skull, let's not forget that. But when you kind of take the force up high, I think I was talking about this in the other video I was doing on the men's singles, but what goes up must come down. So you want to think about kind of driving low the whole time. Another way you can think about it is, I think one of my old coaches told me this, but imagine like there is a bridge that you are rowing underneath, and you can't you literally have like a millimeter of space in between your head and the top of the bridge, and you can't open up too early, and you're obviously gonna hit your head. Now, you cannot open your back without going up. So your head is always going to go up and then come back down. But it's just, if you can really think about being low and staying low as you push, it's a really good way to drive the boat. But yeah, I just really liked, you could only see it here really, but I really liked the way that Lithuanian Skull was loading. You just see there's a really good like hang through the body. The kind of head almost tilts back a little bit, but which is fine. But just to me, like this position here is really nice. I really like this position that they're in. You can see there's a really good hang, really good suspension through the lats, pushing through the legs nicely, and then that just sets yourself up to have a really nice back opening and a really nice hang here all the way through the finish. So yeah, obviously the faster singles get more of the footage, but yeah, maybe in the next race it'd be good to see a little bit more of this. But I just like the way that they were pushing and driving nice and low. I thought it was a good example. On to the next single scull, the Canadian single skull. Where are we? So, again, another, I believe, I could be wrong, newer Canadians, a lot of new single scullers this year, which is exciting. But yeah, one thing I liked about how they approached the catch was just how they timed it. And it was really quick and really smooth, and there was no wasted time hanging around, but they also didn't rush the catch as well. A lot of the time, the catch is so hard because we hear people talk about quick catch, quick on with the legs, and it means that people just rush it before they're connected. But what this sculler does, I'm going to move my head. I'm definitely going to forget to move this back, and I'm going to end up trying to describe something which is like right behind where I've moved my head to. Anyways, they have a really nice timed I don't know if we're going to be able to slow this down enough. So we see this fully compressed position here, legs, shins perpendicular to the hull, stretched out. Obviously, one thing that they do is they bend their arms quite a lot. But if we look at how much their seat moves when they do this, a good indication of how well you're catching is does your seat move or do your shoulders open back before your blade is locked in the water. And what we can see here, it's literally actually quite hard to time this, but there we go. So they're fully compressed. See here, okay, the blades are out here. This is the position they're in. Now they're locked, and you can see the seat is barely moved at all. But they also do this so quick. The blade's gone. They're at the catch. Another way you can think about the catch is where you want to get this speed right around the catch is it's not about how quickly you lift the blade in, and it's not about how quickly you get to the catch, but it is as soon as you're at the catch, you start to lift. And you want to think about it like, imagine there is somebody on the bank here, and they've got, oh my God, this is going to be so bad. They've got like a camera. That's a camera. Oh, that's actually all right. And they're trying to take a photo of you. That's actually a decent drawing, by the way. They're trying to get a photo of you at the catch with your blades above the water. So in theory, you should never be at the catch with your blades above the water. It's always as soon as you're at the catch, you should think, I'm lifting the hands. And a lot of the time people rush the approach and then they rush the lift, but they rush to here, hang around for a second, and then lift the blade in aggressively. And what you want is actually quite slow and controlled here, and quite slow and controlled putting the blade in, but you want no delay from there to there. It's like as soon as you're here, you're going in. Yeah, they bend their arms quite a lot, which I think is quite obvious, but I've spoken about this before, how it's not necessarily the worst thing, but it will affect how well you can hang. But maybe breaking it down a little bit, kind of the shoulders kind of change. There's a bit of tension that maybe comes in with the shoulders as they hang, but not too much. This angle, what you want, if you're bending your arms, you want to basically just make sure that this angle doesn't change as they open. And to me, that does a little bit. We can see they kind of bend a little bit more as they hang and as they press. But maybe if they kept it a little bit longer, the back opening would be. They'd be able to apply a bit more force, but yeah. What else? What else did I have noted down? So when I first watched the Danish Skull, I thought that I wasn't too much of a fan of their technique. And it wasn't until I kind of slowed it down and looked at it that I was like, actually, they're doing a lot of things that I really like. And I was trying to pinpoint what was it that they were doing that just had me thinking that it wasn't the best in the field. And obviously, again, just bear in mind here, sometimes I feel like a bit of an ass doing this. All of them have like amazing technique. It's relative to the level they're at when I talk about what they're doing well, what they're not doing well. But the only thing I could pin down was just there's a little bit of instability and a little bit of extra body movement. And to me, I don't know what the wind conditions were. It looked like a kind of cross headwind or something, but you could see some strokes are kind of like down on this side. You can see this angle down here. Their body's having to make adjustments. There's kind of like subtle kind of tweaks in their back. They're kind of shifting their weight around a little bit. It just doesn't look as easy as it could. But that being said, they're very loose as they put the blade in. You know, you see the shoulders are down nice and low here, and then as they pick up the blade, the shoulders stay low. Really, really good length as well. Really good hang. The catches are looking really nice. There's a good suspension all the way through. As they come through, okay, maybe I talked about this. The Norwegian Skuller in the men's field did this as well, but maybe not the biggest angle at the finish, but again, I'm sure they've done a lot of work with their rig. It just looks a bit shorter at the back, but there can be a bit of a personal preference thing. Really loose grip. You can see that they're nice and loose with the hands as well. And then good catch. We can't quite see the blades here. But yeah, really nice long hang. Really nice good back opening as well. Placing the blades. There's good stillness on the front. They hang, body stays still. They get to this kind of last part. They open really nice. The other thing I think that was maybe making me think it didn't look as good as it could was as they open their back, the hands go up high. If we just scroll back a little bit. Here, they're connected here, this hand position. Then as they kind of open, the hands just seem to go up a little bit higher. And what you want is to keep those hands low as you drive. It just means that there's less hand motion you need at the finish. So we can see here how high their hands are. When they get to the finish, they have to go all the way to here and then all the way down to get it out. Whereas if you're just driving a little bit lower, it's just less movement to get the blade out, which means there's less body movement, less extra movement that you need. The other thing, looking at it from side on, that they do is, again, nice opening, but they really open their back like a lot. They really have a good, and I believe they're quite a tall single sculler as well. Normally tall scullers don't do this, but they have a really nice long back. I think you should really use your back, if you ask me. I think you should have a good back opening and lean back relatively far, and they just don't have too much of an arm draw. So, you know, positives are the looseness, the stillness, the length on the front, the hang all the way through to the finish. There's a bit of instability, and a lot of the time people beat themselves up because they say, I'm not stable, I can't, every stroke I'm clipping the water. You don't, like, clipping the water doesn't slow you down. What slows you down is when you clip the water and you get tense and you stop getting connected, you stop going out to full length. And you stop pushing. So you can still be a bit unstable and go really quick. And maybe some criticisms are they just, the hands go quite high as they hang and as they suspend. Interesting sometimes how it happens. You see something, you think it's one thing, you slow it down, you start to realize that your eyes are deceiving you a little bit. But another great race. Again, I'm really excited for the rematch, or not rematch, the Lauren Henry versus Caroline Florijn. I know I'm saying that name wrong. We've got a couple Dutch rowers that always correct me, and I'm working on my pronunciations. But anyways, some great racing here. Single sculls are my favorite boat class to watch. And if you found this video useful, like the video. If you made it this far in the video, comment blue light blocking glasses, and the other one I did my new reading glasses. And yeah, I'll try and remember to put the Lauren Henry video in the description. Cheers, all the best. I appreciate you watching.